All right, good morning, everyone, and welcome to the PreStream podcast for Friday, January 28th, 2022, or, as some will call today, the beginning of the hardcore gaming season of 2022. What? But it's January. Yeah, it's January, and we today are entering collectively into the biggest and most busy time for new game releases in years. In January. I know this is very odd. I know. It's confusing. You scratch your head. Like, huh? And if you actually take a look at last year, the typical fall gaming season, which I like to call the hardcore gaming season, was pretty underwhelming. Yes, there was a good amount of good games that came out in a short period of time, but not that many. And most of the games that ended up coming out were either kind of lackluster or just kind of not what you would expect during that time of the year. You know what I mean? Like, usually you're looking for all the ginormous AAA releases and everything nonstop. And it really didn't happen in the fall, with a few minor exceptions. Now, all of a sudden, starting today, we've got new release after new release after new release. Coming out in the next month to month and a half. If you take a look at the game release schedule that I actually went over 2 days ago on the PreStream podcast, damn, there is an incredible amount of games coming out in a short period of time. And it's interesting, obviously, to see how people are going to have to handle and tackle this, because a lot of people in the next month will definitely have to pick and choose what games you're going to play because of time constraints, because of money constraints, right? How's everyone going to be able to play 6 new games in a month? You tell me. And I'm a content creator. I do this for a living. I don't know how I'm going to be able to do it. I've even told you guys, there's some games coming out this month that, quite frankly, I'm thinking I might have to skip, even though I'm interested in playing them, because there's just no opportunity to squeeze them in between all the other high-profile new releases that are going to be out, okay? So anyway, welcome everyone to the PreStream podcast. Today I got a good amount of stuff to talk about. Today we're going to be looking at the games that are going to be in the running for tomorrow night's Game Pass night, and we're actually going to set up the poll live, and you guys are going to begin to vote on said games. We got a couple news stories to talk about today, including a new release that no one even knew about, the Uncharted Legacy Collection, as well as Ubisoft's response to the public's response to them selling NFTs in their games. It's very interesting, to say the least. And a little bit of a follow-up on a very sad story about Sega. So a few things to talk about there. We got a few housekeeping things here to talk about on my streams. So I'm excited. I hope you guys are excited too. Sorry my post-nasal drip is bothering me today. There's nothing I can do about it. It sucks. All right, and of course, ladies and gentlemen, of course, today is a big day because it is the beginning of non-stop new gaming releases, and today is Pokemon Legends Arceus' release day, which I'm very interested in trying out for various reasons. First of all, whenever a Pokemon game comes out, there is a ginormous fervor in the community. The hardcore Pokemon fans come out in droves, some liking and some completely crapping all over whatever the latest Pokemon release is. It just seems to be like clockwork that they come out and they complain about whatever it is. And in this case, the game doesn't look good. Why are the graphics so outdated? The same thing they've been saying for the past 4 Pokemon games. They just don't understand that. Apparently, Game Freak doesn't really care about the graphics. They haven't gotten this through their heads yet. For me, Pokemon playthroughs are special because a lot of the times they're opportunities for chill and fun gameplay with you guys and a lot of interaction. Because let's face it, usually Pokemon games are slow-paced, turn-based, open world, but a lot of top-down, old-style RPG exploration. You know what I mean? Random encounter kind of combat stuff. And it allows itself to have a lot of fun interaction with the audience. I get to talk with you guys a lot during the Pokemon playthroughs, so they're considered more of my chill playthroughs. Now, from what I'm hearing, this new Pokemon game is a little different. They tried to mix up the formula with some innovations that may not make it as easy to have a playthrough like that. I'm actually hearing that there's some challenging things in the game. Some people are saying it's the hardest Pokemon game in a long time, and that there's actually a new element of gameplay to it, which is cool. I mean, would I have liked better graphics? Of course. I think everyone's going to say, yeah, if you could have made the graphics more next gen or whatever. But it's not next gen. It's on the Switch. The Switch is a very outdated console. The Switch was outdated when it released. It was outdated and wasn't as good as the current consoles that were competing with it. So why you would think that they're going to pull off some kind of groundbreaking graphics on the Switch is beyond me. I just don't really understand these very odd criticisms of Pokemon that the community seems to always come out with every time there's a new game. It just makes me scratch my head. I mean, is it fun to play? Does it follow along with what you would expect from a Pokemon game? And also, in this case, does it have fun innovations? If the answer to all three of those questions is yes, I don't see how it could be a bad game. Okay? I don't know. But anyway, let's have some fun today checking out Pokemon Legends Arceus. You know, I'm very curious to see what's going to happen in it. What are these new innovations? Because unlike a lot of other people out there, I don't follow the gaming news intently. I purposely try to avoid major spoilers and things before I play a new game. Because what is the point? Seriously, what is the point of me spoiling myself on every new aspect of a new game if I'm going to play the game? Like, why play the game then? If you already know everything about the game by the time you're playing the game, why are you playing the game? That would be like saying I read an entire plot synopsis of a movie and then I went and saw the movie. Huh? You're kind of doing it wrong. You know what I mean? Now, I'm not saying go in with absolutely no knowledge whatsoever about what you're about to play, but I'm just saying I just don't understand these people that completely and utterly spoil themselves on stuff before they choose to play a game. That's kind of weird to me. All right? So anyway, I'm excited for this today. Major stream of Pokemon Legends Arceus. Obviously, they'll be picking my starter Pokemon, learning the intro game mechanics, having a good time in Pokemon today. Okay? Later tonight, the late stream is my weekly throwback Street Fighter session called Friday Night Fights. That's at 6:45 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Hopefully, we have a good time with that. Usually, we do. And I love going back to arcades. It feels like I'm really going back to the days of Friday, Saturday nights. I used to go to my local arcade and play Street Fighter against a variety of opponents. And it was always a good time, and I'm looking forward to more of that tonight. Okay? Tomorrow will be more Pokemon Legends Arceus. Okay? I'm doing 2 straight days of it to get a good idea of what the game's about. 6 hours of gameplay within 2 days is good. Tomorrow night will be our Game Pass night stream, and as I just spoke of, what we're actually going to do live here on today's stream is we're going to go through the 12 remaining games that we had marked for possible playing in the future, and we're going to do polls on the main channel page of DSPGaming where you guys are going to vote on which of these games you want to see on, on Game Pass night tomorrow. That was disgusting. Pretty cool. All right, then, on Sunday, it's actually going to be the possible conclusion of the Forgotten City. Game that I've been playing is very interesting. Again, one of the Game Pass games, and I really like the plot. And now we've gotten to a point of the game where we actually know what's going on, and it looks like we can choose how we want to end the game and try to get some alternate endings and stuff. And then Sunday night will be Halo Infinite multiplayer to end my streaming week. I'm not here on Monday, okay? When I return on Tuesday, it'll be a unique mix this week. Skyrim will continue. Pokemon Legends Arceus will continue. Those will be the main gameplay streams for the week, okay? The night streams this coming week, I'm planning on possibly playing I Am Fish, okay? This is a game that I played a couple weeks ago as a Game Pass night game. You guys seemed to like it and said, hey, I hope that you'll add it as a chill stream at night. The only reason I would not play I Am Fish is if on Saturday night we play more Game Pass games here and you guys seem to like those a lot more and want that instead of I Am Fish. So likely what we'll end up doing is after Game Pass night on Saturday night, there'll be a poll. What do you guys want to see? I Am Fish or maybe one of these other Game Pass games? And you guys will vote and determine what you want to be as some of the night streams this coming week, okay? So it'll be a balance between that and also Halo Infinite multiplayer on the late streams this coming week, okay? Now, 1 week from today, another new release, Dying Light 2. And when Dying Light 2 releases, then it's going to be Dying Light 2 and Pokemon as the main gameplay streams. Unless unless you guys decide that Pokemon is good, but maybe you don't want it as a mainstream. Maybe you want that more as a late night chill stream, which I'd be okay with, which means that Skyrim would kind of stay in the rotation as a main gameplay stream for a little bit longer. It won't be forever. Because keep in mind, you got Sifu only a few days after Dying Light 2, and then about a week and a half after that, you got King of Fighters. So we got all this new stuff going on. All right? So basically, the way I approach it is play it by ear. Try to get the feeling for the room, you know what I mean? See what you guys are liking more, and go from there. So that's the rough schedule for the next week and a half, 2 weeks. Hope that sounds good to you. All right. Some quick housekeeping things before we head into game news and the like. Ladies and gentlemen, today is undoubtedly going to be a big day because today is the first day of nonstop new releases, gameplay releases for the next month and a half, 2 months. Really, every week there will be major new game releases, okay? I'd like to say welcome to those of you who are here to chill with me for the premiere of Pokemon. I'm very excited for this, okay? Now, I've been talking for the last month about how I want to rebuild this channel, DSPGaming, in the year of 2022. My goal is that hopefully I can get this channel back into prominence on YouTube as a channel that people will go to look for gaming coverage. Independent gaming coverage. That's not a paid advertisement and a fucking shill and someone who gets games early and fucking kisses games butts, but instead, somewhere you can go to get honest opinions from an average guy who just plays games at face value, okay? That's the whole point. Okay? That's really the whole point of me doing stuff since day one. So that being said, how can we now actively, with these new releases hitting pretty much every single week, what can we do to let this channel get back to prominence, all right? Well, the honest answer here is engagement. All right, and that's why I've been trying to talk about engagement for the last month. I've been trying to accentuate and emphasize how important engagement is on YouTube when you have a channel that you're trying to get noticed, okay? If you're not aware, the way that YouTube works is as follows. When you put out a video or stream, YouTube looks at certain criteria to see if your video or stream qualifies to be able to be entered into search results and or related video results. All right? What are the criteria YouTube looks for? Well, obviously, is anyone watching it? What's the length of time someone watches it? Okay? When someone watches it, by clicking on it, what's the percentage of people who click and stick for a certain period of time? There's all these weird things, CTRs and crap like that. But also, the critical thing that we can affect, likes and comments. Okay? Right now, today, is a very important day. New game release right now on stream. For those of you who are here live, there's over 250 people here live already for the pre-stream, and I just started. Okay? If you are having a good time today, I urge you to please like the stream. If you like the stream, this gives the stream more visibility because of the added engagement on YouTube. That means that when people today are looking for someone playing Pokemon Legends Arceus, they type that in, I'm searching for that. DSPGaming might show up in the chat, in the search, or in the related videos if it has enough likes. Okay? That's how YouTube works. I know it sounds silly, because it is, but that's how it judges popularity. So, please, if you would like to help, like today's stream, and if you're watching these videos on demand on my DSP Gaming channel on YouTube today, on the release day, please like the videos. Now, another thing you could do, if you are watching the videos on demand, is leave a comment. The amount of comments on a video of a new release game also adds to its discoverability because of engagement, okay? Thank you to everyone who is liking the stream right now, because literally as I'm saying this, the likes are going up on the stream, all right? I have seen big buy-in from you guys watching the streams in regards to liking the content. I have. In the last month, I've talked about this a ton. And you guys are getting it. You're like, okay, I get it, Phil. I'm going to like the stream if, having a good time. And people are. And it's helping. It is. Engagement is up. I think it said, when I was looking at stats the other day, it was up to anywhere from 12 to 15% in January. Now, just think about this. January, a month that literally had no new releases outside of one that no one cared about, Rainbow Six Extraction, right? There was no notable new releases in January at all. And just by me telling you guys, hey guys, please like the streams, please like the videos, leave a comment, engagement went up by 10-15%, right? Now imagine the month of February, when every week there's new releases. People will be searching for these releases actively on YouTube, right? Now is the time that we can enable added discoverability for DSPGaming by doing this, okay? So please do. I know, again, it's just an afterthought. It's something that I haven't talked about for years and years and years, and now it's so weird to hear Phil talk about likes and comments. I know. It's weird for me, too. But I want to make DSPGaming a social place again. I want it to be a place where people can come and chill, enjoy games, have discussion, have a good time together, and it's, you know, throw away the 5 to 6 toxic years of shit that people tried to throw at this channel, okay? It's not going to be easy. It's not. It's going to take a lot of buy-in. It's going to take a lot of support from you guys. So thank you in advance to anyone who was out of their way to like the content or leave a comment on the content, because this will actively be helping. Now, my other goal is I would like to hit 200,000 subscribers by my birthday, which is the first week of April, all right? I'm going to be honest with you guys. It's not looking very good right now. In the month of January, we didn't get that many new subscribers, all right? It looked like we had between 450 to 500. And then all of a sudden it dipped, and I don't know why. I don't know if there was a bunch of bot accounts that were basically here to try to troll me, and then they unsubbed. But that's actually what it looks like happened. It looks like there were maybe like 50 to 100 bot accounts that were created to possibly troll the stream, and then all of a sudden they unsubbed. So I'm not sure. I mean, right now we're at 195,000, like 850 subs or something like that. And we haven't really moved. I've been trying to hope. I was hoping that this month we'd get 196 or higher, and it just hasn't happened. But the thing is, why would people sub to the channel unless they're newcomers, right? If you're a regular here, likely you're already subscribed to DSPGaming, right? Right? In fact, I took a look at the stats, and it said that over 2/3 of the people who watch my content are already subscribed to the channel, okay? What's that other third? It's likely the more casual viewer, someone who's never going to comment, someone who's never going to talk in the chat. They don't care. They'll come by every once in a while, watch a video. And there's a lot of them. You want to know why there's a lot of them? Because I've been around for 12 years here on DSPGaming. This channel's been running since April 2010. So I've got so many legacy videos. 1/3 of my views are legacy views of people who are not going to subscribe to the channel. Okay? There's nothing I can do about that. However, this month, with all these new releases, there undoubtedly will be new people coming to DSPGaming for the first time to watch these playthroughs. People are going to want to see Pokemon. People are going to want to see Dying Light 2, Sifu, King of Fighters, Horizon Forbidden West, Elden Ring. These are games that are going to bring people to the channel for the first time in a long time. And since these are new releases that are hot, they're going to want to talk on the streams. They're going to want to leave comments. Therefore, they're going to want to subscribe to the channel. You see? Which is why engagement right now is so important. I hope this is all clicking and kind of making sense. It's all coming together now, you see? I spent a whole month trying to convince you guys to like the content and build engagement. So now when the new releases come out, it's already a common thing you do. And now it'll actually help the channel, as it'll bring in new reviewers who are now going to subscribe, boost subs. You see, it all goes hand in hand. Refreshing seltzer water. Okay, so all that being said, my friends, thank you. Thank you for your buy-in in this last month. Thank you for your support so far in 2022. It's been great. If we can keep this momentum going into the new releases coming out in the next month and a half, 2 months, I see good things for the channel, all right? I'm hoping we can actually hit my goal of 200,000 subs by my birthday, but what I would like to do is a big celebration that week, like a big party-like atmosphere, maybe do a special marathon, maybe do everything celebratory that week to celebrate that we had growth on the channel, but we'll see what happens, okay? All right. So that being said, my friends, good stuff ahead, right? Now, yesterday I talked a little bit about how I kind of want to spruce up the channel and rebrand it a little bit and make things a little bit fresher. If you remember, yesterday I actually debuted a new overlay, which is pretty cool, isn't it? Now what we're going to do is we're going to alternate overlays. Every day we're going to go back and forth between the different ones. See that? So we can go back and forth, and you can see different overlays every day, which is kind of cool for the PreStream podcast, right? Now, I am looking for the following. an intro for the podcast, meaning maybe a little 5 to 10 second clip, maybe a little bit of video and audio, as a way to play an intro for the podcast every day. Most people who do podcasts ongoing like this one, by the way, this is episode 51. That was fast. I just started doing this podcast in November. We're already at episode 51. Pretty crazy, huh? But anyway, most people who do ongoing podcasts like this have a professional looking intro. And it's kind of a hook that gets you, oh, you'll hear that play. You know the podcast is coming, right? So I'd like something like that. And I already got a submission overnight, although admittedly the submission was more, let me put it this way. Basically, it sounds like a newscast. It was like actual like helicopter footage, and like it was like a newscaster talking. And I was like, that's not really how I see the podcast. I see the PreStream podcast as a place where we talk about my streams and games, right? So I would like it to be related to my streams and games. Okay, makes sense. So if you guys would like to take a shot at that, please by all means do. Also, I am looking for fan art for the upcoming releases. Again, Pokemon Legends Arceus, Dying Light 2, Sifu, King of Fighters 15, Horizon Forbidden West, and Elden Ring. Those are the major releases coming out in the next month. I would love some new fan art to be added to the streams for that. And in addition to that, I'm looking for animations for those, for contributions. So, you know, someone tips or does a super chat, super sticker. You see a cool animation that maybe is themed towards one of the games that I'm playing this month. That would be excellent. Remember the cool animations I had back in December for Christmas? Something similar to that maybe would be really cool. Okay? So, just throwing that out there. If anyone is interested, please by all means take a stab at it, and you can email me at darksidephil@hotmail.com. All right? I appreciate everything I've told you guys over the years. The reason why my stuff looks as good as it does is because of you. I don't have any graphical skills. I wish I did. I don't. It's up to the people who like the content, and they actually do a really good job making things look awesome around here, and I really appreciate that. So thank you in advance to anyone who is interested in maybe taking a stab at something for the streams. Okay? Cool. All right. Now, ladies and gentlemen, let us jump into some gaming news for today, shall we? Okay. Now, where do we even begin? Let's begin with a little bit of sad news, but I think it's news that everyone was expecting, and we already kind of talked about it a month or two ago as we saw the first signs of it. Ladies and gentlemen, it is official. And by the way, thank you so much. A lot of people are actually either renewing or becoming members for the first time today. Thank you for that. I'll shout those out near the end of the PreStream podcast, and we'll see how we're doing with members, because we were only 24 away from hitting the goal. We might be way closer now. We'll see. Okay. So, Sega, all right, has announced that sadly they are done with arcades, which for those of us living outside of Japan, we're kind of like, okay, I don't get it. What's the big deal? What you may not realize is that in Japan, Sega arcades for 50 years have been a major staple of the major cities in Japan. Sega has always had big arcades set up in Japan to have coin-op arcade machines. I mean, take a look at the Yakuza and the Lost Judgment game or Judgment series games. You notice that there's always a Sega arcade, and that's because it's been part of their culture, ingrained in their culture. That it's just, you know, it's there. You go to Japan, you go to a Sega arcade, you play it. But sadly, the days of coin-op arcades are just basically done. I hate to say it. In the United States, there are still some arcades that are remaining. Most of them that are operating on a game basis, meaning arcades where you go actually to play the games solely, usually are nostalgic. Meaning, oh, there's actually a retro arcade somewhere nearby, and I go there as a novelty. And people purposely go there to play the old games in person. But very rarely are there any arcades anymore in the United States that are actually like that. Most of them are what are called barcades, meaning you go there as an adult, maybe with your family, but a lot of the times it's like an adults going on a date. You have a meal, you have a few alcoholic beverages, and you run around playing silly ticket games and light gun games and basketball. It's nothing like it used to be. Back in the day, it was all about competitive gameplay when fighting games and driving, but also then it was co-op beat 'em ups and things like that. Those games pretty much are done when it comes to arcades. And it is sad. It is sad. It's the end of an era. You know, coin-op arcades were huge in the 1990s when I was growing up. It was a major part of my childhood, or I guess I should say my formative years becoming an adult was going to an arcade, having that social interaction with the locals, playing Street Fighter and other fighting games, you know? And it made me who I am today in a lot of ways, because it basically got me used to kind of being in front of a crowd, playing a game with other people watching you. You know, the pressure is on, but I got used to it. And it allowed me to then easily get into things like public speaking. And then eventually when I became a pro-level Street Fighter player, going to EVO and playing in front of thousands of people, you know, it allowed me to do that and not really get nervous or anything. And now, of course, today, every day, I'm in front of hundreds of people. Right now, I'm in front of 307 people on my stream. And just imagine the tens of thousands of people illegally restreaming this right now. And then imagine the people who are going to watch this on demand afterward, right? I'm speaking in front of a very large audience right now, and I'm not nervous at all. I don't care. You know? But that's what I mean. Like, those formative years of mine were spent in an arcade that made me the person I am today. And now it's just sad because it really is going away. And there's not much that can be done. You know, times change. Arcades were prominent because at the time it wasn't possible to get that level of graphical performance and or gameplay out of a home console. Home consoles were primitive at the time. If you wanted to get the best gaming experience possible, you had to go to an arcade, and you would see groundbreaking graphics and things like, wow, I didn't even know you could do that. Now it's completely the opposite, right? So it is kind of sad to see it go. And a lot of people are speculating the reason that Sega is officially now throwing in the towel in their arcade business is because, sadly, they're looking to sell. Looks like Sega has finally realized operating independently isn't really working for them anymore, and they maybe want to be bought out by someone else so that now they can still continue to be a game developer, but maybe have a little bit more guidance, a little bit more funding, and not have to worry about trying to keep things afloat themselves. So cutting the fat, as they say, cut that arcade part of their business out of the equation, since it's not as profitable as it once was. Very sad, but it's life. Things change, you know, things change over time, and sadly the coin-op arcade business it's not very viable anymore. I guess you gotta look at it this way. Would you have rather seen Sega arcades close entirely like they're gonna do, or would you rather see them become barcades where it's all about ticket games and, you know, drunken adults running around acting like fools? Because that certainly would not retain the spirit of what arcades actually were. You know what I mean? And not to say there's anything wrong with barcades. I've been to some with my wife and we've had a good time, but it definitely doesn't feel like the old days of arcades. You know what I'm saying? So there you go. Actually, hold on one second, because my blinds are screwed up and there's one beam of light coming through the blinds and actually hurting my eyes. Hold on a second. I want to fix this before I get distracted the whole freaking pre-stream. How did it even get stuck? Look at that. Stupid. This is very distracting. Okay. Alright, so sadly, yeah, it's a sad piece of game news. Next piece of game news today. Did you know that there's another new release that came out today outside of Pokemon Legends Arceus? Most people did not. Seriously, most people did not know that at all. It is the Uncharted Legacy Collection for PlayStation 5. What is the Uncharted Legacy Collection? Did you even know there was an Uncharted game coming out today? I didn't until like 2 days ago. Someone said on stream, Phil, you playing the new Uncharted game? I said, the new Uncharted game? What are you talking about? So I did a little bit of research and come to find out there is no new Uncharted game today. Okay? Oh my god, excuse me. Woo! That's disgusting. No, there is no new Uncharted game. The game that's coming out today is a re-release of Uncharted 4 and Uncharted The Lost Legacy, which was the standalone expansion / DLC for Uncharted 4. Okay? Now, these came out several years ago. Alright? I would say, was it 5 years ago? 4 years ago? It's hard. I don't remember exactly when they did. But, you know, they're getting a little on the older side now. They were the final installments of the Uncharted franchise. They were the final send-off for the franchise, right? Do you really believe that? I'm just curious how many people actually think they'll never make another piece of Uncharted gameplay ever again. I don't know about that. But anyway, they're good. Uncharted 4, I absolutely loved. The Lost Legacy, I thought was great as well. Graphically, at the time when those games came out, They were some of the best looking video games ever made on console. Like definitely some of the best PS4 games I've ever seen. Like the graphical fidelity and the way that they held up during action sequences and things was outstanding. Okay, but it begs the question. Okay, did they actually need to be re-released on PlayStation 5? And what actually is this re-release? Okay, like what is it? What do you get with it? Well, you get 120 hertz. Okay, what does that mean? It means you get more frames per second. If you have a TV that does 60 frames, you'll get 60 frames per second. If you got a TV that does above that, you'll get more. Not everyone has a TV that does above that. I don't. Mine is 60 frames limited, locked. But it would be nice, Uncharted games have always been 30 frames per second. None of them have ever gone above that. So to actually see the most modern Uncharted games running at a higher frame rate, okay, I guess it's not needed, but it's a nice little bell or whistle, right? Also, dual sense support, meaning yes, there'll be some haptic feedback and a little bit maybe of adaptive triggers, okay? But no, not a lot, not a huge deal. And as you guys know, I've told you guys, since I got my PS5, the first month, I really liked it. After that, the gimmick wore out. And all over last year when I was playing games like Returnal and Ratchet and Clank, you get the adaptive triggers are nice for the first hour, and then you're like, okay, the gimmick wore out. I don't really care anymore. It doesn't add anything to the game. It's just something that's there, and you got to get used to like anything else, and then it's just part of the game, and nobody cares. Sadly, not many games really made use of the haptic feedback. I found that most of the games that did were the launch titles for PS5, like Astro's Playroom, Demon's Souls. They actually used it a lot more than most of the other games that came out over the course of the first year of the console's run. And it just seems to me like what they're doing here is they're trying to repackage and resell a game that doesn't need to be repackaged and resold. Okay? The game's not old. If they were remaking Uncharted 1 through 3, updating the graphics to be, 60 frames, and adding in new features and things, then maybe I would argue, okay, this is the game that you just played a few years ago. It's not any different. It's the same game. There's no new modes, no new features, no new story. It's literally a small graphical facelift and a few things on the PlayStation 5 controller that don't really matter. And they're reselling it, for an expensive price tag. This isn't a $20 game. You know what I'm saying? And what gets me about this is, I almost guarantee you, people are going to buy it. Because PlayStation 5 doesn't have a lot of exclusives. This is an exclusive. So people are going to say, oh, something new to play on my console. Listen, if you didn't play Uncharted 4, then fair enough. Why wouldn't you buy this one, right? You finally get to experience it, and now you experience it at the best graphical fidelity with a few extra bells and whistles on your controller. But outside of that, why would you want this? I'm at a loss. Why would you even spend money on this, right? Why would you care? And by the way, it has to be noted, this would have been a major opportunity for Naughty Dog to actually put in some interesting effort and say, okay, we acknowledge that when we made The Last of Us 2 a couple years ago, we added in state-of-the-art, groundbreaking accessibility features, right? For those who have issues with their sight, issues with their hearing, just issues with the controls in general, maybe, disability of being able to use their arms or hands. They had such great accessibility features in The Last of Us 2. Like, everyone in the industry should be copying them, okay? And I even said when The Last of Us 2 came out, I said, this should be the poster example that every other game should follow. That if you're going to release a major AAA game, you have the budget for this stuff. Put in these features, right? You absolutely should. Everyone should be able to enjoy these kind of games. This is not a competitive game. This is a single-player, narrative-based action game. Everyone should be able to enjoy this game. Put the goddamn accessibility features into it, okay? Guess how many accessibility features they added to the Uncharted Legacy Collection? Oops. 0! Fucking 0! None! Zilch! Nada! Nothing! They literally didn't care. They put these features into their last major release, then decided to re-release another popular game from their own, vault and said, fuck it, no accessibility. They literally ignored what they did great to make a quick buck. This would have been a giant opportunity to say, listen, we're going to do the right thing now with every game we release. We're going to put in this industry-leading accessibility, right? They did nothing. They're literally reselling games with a minor graphical overhaul and a few adaptive feedback slash, adaptive triggers features for an insane amount of money. It's a huge fucking ripoff. It's ridiculous. To me, that's disrespectful. That you say, oh, well, we're not really pumping out many PS5 exclusives, so we'll just sell you the game you played on PS4 already, and you'll pay full price for it because we fucking said so. Wow. So, ladies and gentlemen, it's this simple. I've said this many times over the years, I'll say it again. If you expect change, if you expect improvement, if you expect game developers to care and do things that you want, then you need to support the things that have them, and you need to ignore the things that don't. All right? For all the criticisms that I gave The Last of Us 2, the major praise I gave to it was that the fucking game had really great functional controls and gameplay and was highly accessible. One of the most, if not the most accessible game ever made from mainstream gaming, right? You should demand that in all releases. You should. And if you don't get it, you should call it out. So I'm calling it out. This one was a great opportunity for them to do that, and they didn't give two fucks. They just want to make a quick buck. So, if you're not for these game publishers and game developers just making a quick buck with no effort, then skip games like the Uncharted Legacy Collection. Don't buy it. Because if you buy it, you're telling them, yes, not only will I buy your game when it releases, but then I'll buy it again and again and again and again and again, and I'll line your pockets with money even though you put absolutely no fucking effort into this release. Don't do it. Okay? Just don't do it. Don't allow them to get away with just this zero effort shit. All right? If people buy this game, it'll put the wrong impression into the minds of Naughty Dog that they can just keep doing this, right? Didn't you hear they're remaking The Last of Us 1 again? Again! They already did. They had The Last of Us 1, then within a year and a half of the game coming out, they re-released it for PS4, so now they're remaking it for PS5. It's the same fucking game. They're doing it again. All right? If people buy this, you're basically telling Naughty Dog, yes, this is fine. Keep doing it. Okay? So, just don't support it. I'm serious. I mean it. I'm making a public call here, man. Don't support these fucking cash-in attempts from these game developers. Support the actual effort, right? Don't support lack of effort and a cheap attempt to make extra money off of something that they've already made and they put no effort into releasing it again. Okay? It's ridiculous. And if you support what you like, don't support what you don't. Don't just be one of these people who I need another game for PS5. Oh, I'll fucking buy the same game again. Don't do it. Seriously, don't do it. Okay? Oh, I know. Oh, comfortably numb. I know. He says people already gave that impression with Skyrim. You're absolutely right. How many times was Skyrim re-released over the last decade? Right? How many fucking times? And people kept rebuying it. I'm happy that I waited a decade to rebuy it, and now I'm actually enjoying it with all these new what do they call it? Creation Club content, new missions, new content that's added to it significantly. Instead of me just rebuying the same game 12 times over the last decade, I waited, right? And I feel like I definitely did the right thing in that regard. Excuse me. Okay. Our last news story for today. All right, and then what we'll do is we'll get into shout-outs, which I have a lot of shout-outs to do today. By the way, guys, thank you to everyone who's already liked the stream. 90 likes and climbing. Really awesome. We're getting tons of engagement. And again, the more engagement I get on new release streams like today, this is going to help DSPGaming tremendously. So thank you for this, okay? Okay. Our final game story for today is in regards to Ubisoft and NFTs. If you guys remember, Ubisoft, about a month or two ago, announced that they would be one of the first major game developers to jump into the NFT arena, and they immediately were going to start selling NFT items in their Tom Clancy games, which they did. Now, what's hilarious about this is that the items they put into the game ended up basically being huge flops. No one really cared about them. And I think they were trying to be sold for like $20 or something like that. No one cared, okay? Now, we've already talked about NFTs over the past month and how very, 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 very bad everyone thinks they are for so many different reasons, right? Number one, because they take a lot of energy to maintain with those blockchain protections to make sure that no one is trying to rip off your NFT. It's very expensive. Number two, because NFTs seem to be a way to basically cash out, to nickel and dime the consumer into buying little meaningless digital things that don't really fucking matter and have really no intrinsic value, except people think they're going to have value by reselling them. So it's kind of like almost a scam in a way. It really feels like, at least now, in the present day, NFTs seem to be an attempt by these game developers to just make an extra quick buck with no effort at all. Sell something that you think is actually going to have value in the future, even though there's absolutely no evidence that it ever will, all right? And make a buck now on it, and oh well, we did nothing, we made free money. That's what it seems like, okay? Now, what happened when Ubisoft did this? Giant backlash. Everyone's saying, what are they, crazy? We don't want this in our games. This could ruin games if the entire game situation becomes now microtransactions for NFTs rather than focusing on gameplay elements. And what is this? We don't want this. So, it's been about a month and a half since this whole thing started and exploded and everyone went crazy, right? And how did Ubisoft respond? Did Ubisoft go back and actually like reassess the situation from a consumer standpoint and look at the big picture and say, oh, it really seems like the landscape and the climate right now is that it's just not ready for NFTs. You know, take a look at Don Matrick when he launched the Xbox One and almost sank the whole thing. And all the things that he said and how cocky that Don Matrick was at that time, right? He thought he could do no wrong. Xbox One will have digital-only games. The discs basically are just a placeholder and aren't needed. You can't trade in games and you can't give a disc to your buddy because everything's attached to a digital license. Therefore, there's no more trade-ins or swapping games at all. You need an internet connection to play the Xbox One. If you don't have internet, you can't ever even boot the console properly. You need to buy the Kinect with the Xbox One. You can't buy it without the Kinect thing, right? All these things going on. All right, Life's Verso, why the fuck are you spamming my stream chat? Stop it right now or I'm going to time you out. I don't know why he's doing this. He's being an asshole. Okay. So anyway, all these things. Don Matrick says at the launch of Xbox One in a very cocky demeanor, in a way that makes him look like a complete douchebag. Everyone ends up hating the guy. The Xbox One initially tanks in sales because of everything he did, and literally within 6 to 8 months of him doing this, he's kicked out of the company. Okay? So it's not like we don't have a track record for this kind of stuff happening. All right? Now, maybe NFTs are similar to the Don Matrick approach for the Xbox One console. Maybe they're ahead of their time. You know what I'm saying? Maybe there will be a time when NFTs will be viewed as something that's just natural to the landscape of gaming, something that makes sense, something that everyone will adopt, and it'll be part of the natural culture of things. Like today, how many people download all their games digitally, right? It's become almost commonplace that most game releases people get digitally now. If you look at the percentages, yes, most people are getting their games digitally now rather than physically. Don Matrick kind of knew what he was talking about. It's just that he was way early with his ideas. You know, the world wasn't ready to be there yet. So it's very possible that maybe in the long run, NFTs will make sense. Maybe it won't be such a money hog to maintain these blockchains and we'll find a solution for it. Maybe they will be found a way to integrate them into games that it's not just about buying and selling and making money and abusing that system, right? Maybe. But we're not there yet, right? We're just not there yet. So, did Ubisoft go back, look at the history of what happened with someone like Don Matrick, and respond accordingly? Well, let's find out. Ubisoft was interviewed. This is actually an executive from Ubisoft who was interviewed about NFTs. Okay? And he was interviewed about NFTs. Actually, what I'm going to do, I'm going to bring this up on my phone so I can actually see it better. And, hold on. I got to find it. God damn it, I didn't save it? Seriously? Oh, come on. I can't believe I didn't save it. I have it on my desktop and not on my fucking phone. Well, that was a boneheaded move, huh? Because it's way over there on my screen. It's actually very hard to see from where I'm sitting. Oh, son of a bitch. Seriously? I might just have to try to squint and read it over there. I can't believe I didn't save it on the phone. I mean, this is a boneheaded move for sure. Ladies and gentlemen, can you tell that I am new to podcasting and I'm not great at it? Right? Can you tell? I hope you can tell, because this is a big faux pas. You should always be ready. You should have all your resources ready when you're actually doing a podcast. And you should not be flubbing it at the last minute like I'm doing right now, searching for this post, which I still can't find. So I'm probably going to have to read it from my computer screen. Very embarrassing. Yeah, I can't find the original post, so fuck this. So I know what I'm going to do. I know exactly what I'm going to do. Watch this. I'm going to cheat. Okay. I'm going to cheat. I said I'm going to cheat. Okay. I just played back my own podcast, okay, on my laptop, and I blew it up full screen and I paused it. So I'm going to read my own podcast off of my laptop. Now that's creative thinking. All right. So ladies and gentlemen, an Ubisoft executive was interviewed overnight, or it was yesterday, I think, and it was just published today, the interview, about NFTs and the public's reaction to them. That when they announced they were going to put these into Tom Clancy games and everything, how negatively everyone reacted. So here it is. Well, let's talk about making sense of it. What do you think is the big positive that gamers are missing about that NFTs like Digits can offer them? What is the positive that NFTs can offer gamers? Here is how the Ubisoft executive responded. You know, I think gamers don't get what a digital secondary market can bring to them. For now, because of the current situation and context of NFTs, gamers really believe it's first destroying the planet and second, just a tool for speculation. But what we at Ubisoft are seeing first is the end game. The end game is about giving players the opportunity to resell their items once they're finished with them or they're finished playing the game itself. So it's really for them. It's really beneficial, but they don't get it for now. Also, this is part of the paradigm shift in gaming. Moving from one economic system to another is not easy to handle. There's a lot of habits you need to go against and a lot of your ingrained mindset that you have to shift. It takes time, and we know that. Excuse me. All right. So the question that was asked to this Ubisoft executive, all right, was, so what do you perceive as the value of NFTs to the common gamer? All right, because there's such a backlash against NFTs. You know, why do you think it's viable to have these in your games? And the answer that the guy gave is literally the Don Matrick answer. It's basically this. Well, gamers just aren't smart enough to understand what NFTs are. Right now, they think that they're bad for the environment, and they think that they're just scams. But what they don't understand is that you can make money with NFTs. Like, literally, that's what this says. Read it again. That's exactly what that says. Mr. Executive Bigwig, executive at a company that makes video games, says NFTs are viable because they make money. That's it. That was his answer. It wasn't that they add value to games, that they're going to be beneficial to gamers in the long run because the game experience will be better, or because there's more value for what you're trying to buy. Literally, NFTs will make money. Hello? Mr. Executive, Mr. Tone Deaf Executive, hello? Do you understand that you're in the business of making fucking video games? You know that's what you're doing, right? You're not trying to find another currency. You're not a bank. You are a game maker. You're supposed to be making games that people want. Your business is making a creative gameplay experience and selling it for a profit. Not to find a new currency to sell on the internet. That's literally what he's saying. Well, NFTs will be a new currency in the future, so people just have to get used to it and adopt it. But what the fuck does that have to do with your core business of making video games? Nothing. That's what everyone is criticizing you for. You think you're a fucking banker. You're a game developer. Wake the fuck up, you fucking jackass moron. And that's how everyone's responding to this. It's ridiculous that an executive at a game development company, this is his mindset. How out of touch can you be with the game community? You have no concept of what you're doing. Why is this guy even in a position of power at a game development company? He doesn't know anything about games. He's trying to sell currency. All right? So let me ask you guys a question. Seriously, let me ask you guys a question. Today, new Pokemon game has released, right? So what's your major concern? Is it the major gameplay elements and how they've been improved and overhauled? Is it that the graphics look good or look bad, right? Is it your overall gameplay hours you'll get out of the game, value for your buck? Or is it that when you're done with Pokemon Legends Arceus, you can sell things in the game for resale value at a future date? When you purchase a game, do you literally think, I'm buying this game so that I can get maximum resale value later? Is that what you're thinking? Or are you thinking, oh, I'm buying a game because I want a good gameplay experience? Right? Now listen, don't get me wrong. All right? There very well may be people out there who think this way, that everything's an investment. All right? Everything for me is an investment. I bought a car and I'm going to resell it later. I buy a house, I'm going to flip it. I'm going to resell it later. Right? In the games industry, when you buy a video game, you don't even own the game. It would be one thing if you owned the game and you had the legal right to resell it. You don't. You have a license to use that software for certain purposes. You don't even own the software, right? So now, this executive thinks that everyone's mindset should change from a mindset of, oh, I want a good gameplay experience to, I want to make money on this transaction in a video game. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? Really? No, really. What the fuck is your problem? Why are you so stupid? And how the fuck, likely this guy gets paid big money too. This guy is probably a guy who sits in a boardroom all day in a suit and he fucking brainstorms ideas for Ubisoft and he probably makes 500 grand to $1 million a year. Plus he's probably got stock options, retirement options. This fucking moronic jackass who doesn't even understand gaming as an industry thinks that the major concern should be finding a new currency through gaming and NFTs. So now you know why Ubisoft is trying to put NFTs in all their games. They don't care about the games they put out. They care about making money from a new currency. That's literally it. That's exactly what he said word for word in his interview. You can't even like misconstrue what he said. Like, wow. I mean, that's tremendous. How did we come to this? How did we come to an industry where the people who are in charge of the industry don't actually care about the industry? I don't know, man. But that's the state we're in right now. So anyway, I thought you get a good laugh out of that. Now, here's the thing. Like I just said, I'm actually not saying that in the long run, NFTs might be horrible. Take a look at what happened with the Xbox One. In the long run, the things that Don Matrick brainstormed as the future of gaming actually are kind of the future of gaming right now. You know what I'm saying? They're the present. But man, we're in the infancy of NFTs, and to try to force this shit down people's throats at this point is lunacy. It's just, you're a moron. You get paid big dollars to be a stupid. You can put a guy off the street who fucking plays video games more than that executive in his boardroom seat and will probably do a better job. That's just remarkable to me. It's absolutely remarkable. Anyway, that's game news for today, guys. So one final thing before we get to shoutouts. We are about to make the polls to determine what games you guys are going to vote on now for Game Pass night on Saturday night. Okay? Let's do it. So, just to recap what you guys are talking about, okay? Or what I'm talking about, excuse me. On Saturday night, we're doing a late night stream. And this late night stream is going to be a Game Pass night where we're going to play 2 games from Xbox Game Pass Ultimate. All right? It's going to be games that we've already identified in the past. Okay? As viable games to be played. There's 12 of them left out of the like 16 or 18 we originally identified. We've already tried 4. So there's 12 left, okay? So right now I'm going to do the poll. All right, it's going to be 3 polls of 4 games each. So, Game Pass poll 1. Which of these games do you want to see me play on Game Pass night this coming Saturday, January 30th? No, 29th. Thanks and good luck. Okay. So, poll number 1. The options are as follows. Unpacking. Serious Sam 4. The Procession of Cavalry. Or Moonglow Bay. That's poll number 1. Going up right now. Okay? All right. Poll number 2. So what are the next 4 games? We've got Into the Pit. That's the game that kind of looks like a modern Hexen. The Good Life. XO1, and I feel bad because that's the one that I forgot last time around, but I got it into the poll this time. And Dead Cells. Okay. And now, last but not least, poll number 3. This will be the final poll. So please be sure to vote on all 3 polls, okay, guys? The final 4 games are as follows. Bug Fables. Backbone. One Piece Pirate Warriors 4. And Outer Wilds. So there you go. Now, where can you find these polls? Go to the main page of DSPGaming's channel page, all right, on YouTube. Community tab. The 3 polls should now be there, and you're free to vote at your leisure here. Please vote. That's going to be running all day today, and that'll be running for the first half of tomorrow's streams, okay? So please vote, and let's see. I'm curious to see what you guys vote for. The games that receive the top 2 number of votes will be played, all right? All right, good. All right, let us now get to shout-outs. First of all, let's get to the YouTube side because, man, a lot of people either re-upped or became members today. Let's refresh here, and then I'll start with the shout-outs. Okay, Twisted Resistor did a $5 super chat and said, this one is for the haters. Thank you, Twisted Resistor, for the channel support. I appreciate that. Sticking it to the haters. Darkside Chris re-upped his membership for 9 months and says, always going strong. Thank you very much, Darkside Chris, for the support. Jason Sipple re-upped his membership for 3 months and says, pumped for Dying Light 2. Keep on keeping on. Thank you, Jason. Rashawn Johnson did a super chat and says, hell yeah, I am ready for Pokemon Legends Arceus. Me too. I'm excited to see what they've done with the franchise. Then Rashawn also re-upped his membership for 6 months in a row, earning himself a Golden Crown badge in the chat. And he says, let's go. Parasolo re-upped his membership for 9 months and says, happy Friday, let's have a good weekend. And with the DSP thumbs up emote. Awesome. William Gee became a channel member at the Ultra Supporter level. That's the highest level of support. That helps me out way more than just a standard supporter. Thank you so much, William. And now with all of that, what I'd like to do is take a look and see where we are for channel members, because I'd like to update the leaderboard because we're getting, actually, if you can believe it, we've seen a surge in member support over the last couple of days, making it possibly viable to hit the goal in the next 3 days. I don't know if we will, but it's actually viable. We're now at 327 members, okay? So, that means we only need 23 more people to become a member in the next 3 days, and we will hit the goal. If we hit the goal of 350, number 1, a new emote slot gets unlocked for everyone who's a member. Number 2, we're going to do a special marathon in February where we're going to pick a good assortment of games from Microsoft Game Pass and play them in a marathon setting. Try 4 or 5 of them and see how many of them are good and what they're all about, okay? In addition, there's going to be a fun episode of Feasting with the King, where I'm going to try a new kind of cuisine live on stream for the very first time with all of you guys. So, there are many, many reasons to become a channel member outside of just all the benefits you get personally. Please, right now would be a great time to become a channel member, especially with all the new releases that are going to be coming out in the next month. If you became a channel member the next 3 days, that would help tremendously, and it would allow us to try to hit this goal. So please consider it, okay? All right. Now, in addition to that, Review Tech USA did a $10 super chat and says, here is a celebratory super chat because my COVID-19 test came back negative. Have a good stream. Thank you, Rich. I'm glad to hear that you're not infected with COVID, and thank you for the super chat. Marxist Carl did a $2 super chat and says, an exec's mindset is making money for shareholders. That is correct, and that's fucked up. It is. Because, yes, that's a part of your job, but that's not your whole job. Really. No, I mean it. Like, when you actually operate a company, right, there's many aspects to running a successful company. One of them is actually providing a product or service to the world that has meaning. No, really, I mean that. Even though 99% of these idiots who run these companies think that it's all about this, it's actually not. A part of your job as a responsible business owner and operator is putting out a product that has meaning and or value to the human race. Really, I mean that. It's supposed to do that. But people have lost their fucking way. They think that now, as long as I make this, that's all that matters. Wrong. If you're operating just for this and you don't look at the big picture of humanity, you're a fucked up, immoral, scumbag piece of dog shit. And you don't deserve to have any power or responsibility or any money or any rewards for what you do. Because if you're destroying society around you to make this, you don't deserve anything and you should get kicked in the balls. Sadly, as a human race, we seem to have forgotten this, and it's now just get ahead any means, step on everyone, destroy everything around you, burn it all down. As long as I end up at the top of the fucking steaming crap heap, it's all good, right? Fuck all that shit. That's not the kind of person that I am, and I never will actually believe in that philosophy. Okay. Now, let us get the shout-outs on the tip side of things. We start off with an anonymous $1.50 tipper who says there are 4 endings in the Forgotten City, with each progressively getting better from worst to best. To get the best ending, you need to find all of the tablets and do all of the leads. It's very easy to get all 4 on your way to getting the best one. All right. Sounds good. And I'm looking forward to that this coming Sunday. Hopefully I can figure it out and we have a good time together trying to figure all that out. Yordle Pie tipped $4.20. It says, my time to shine as a graphic designer and animator is here. Well, if you are, that would be outstanding. If you could whip something together, send it my way, we give it a look. I would really, really appreciate that for some sprucing up of the content. Would look really cool, especially this month when I'm going to have more eyes on the content than usual, right? Pretty cool. Rob on Wheels is here today. He tipped me $5, said you're finally playing a game that I want to see. Well, I'm glad to have you back, Rob. Welcome back to the streams. Sorry that you weren't interested in much that I was doing in January. But yes, so now we have pretty much non-stop new releases, right? From now until like March, end of March. So hopefully some of these releases will interest you, and I'll see you more often on stream. Sounds good to me, man. Carlton Jr. has tipped $1.50 and says, I do think it's a slippery slope with NFTs. Placing them in games may also influence the perception of them. I can see a game becoming big simply due to the value of its NFTs instead of the quality of the game, and that's not good for the culture. That's right. Up until now, games have been judged on various factors, such as the length of the game, the quality of the gameplay, the story, the music, the overall atmosphere and game world, the graphics, the production values, multiplayer quality, and you know what I mean? All these things are common things that you judge a game on. Are we literally now going to start judging games on resale value because of NFTs? Well, this game is horrible to play. It's no good at all, but man, you can resell it for $1,000, so it's, 10 out of 10. But that's what I mean. Why are we turning games into fucking currency? What are you talking about? Why do we want to do that? Okay. Zoomer Doomer Boomer tipped me $2 and says, excited for Pokemon Legends Arceus. Finally a Pokemon game that is somewhat open world and a departure from that typical turn-based style. I'm buying it this weekend myself, and I'm looking forward to Street Fighter as usual. Sounds good. I'm really intrigued to see what this is because I don't really know how they're going to implement this change. I mean, it's always been turn-based, and now apparently it's not. I guess we're going to find out today. I'm excited to see what the changes are. Okay, actually, we ended up getting a bunch more YouTube side contributions. So, the Recluse just did a super chat and said, sweets to the sweet. Thank you to Recluse for the super chat. Orcs or Dorks just became a member for 9 months, re-upping the membership. And says there's going to be a Texas Chainsaw Massacre game. Yes, I'm aware of that. Someone actually just brought it up yesterday and said it's going to be by the same makers as Friday the 13th. We all know how that turned out. Sambuca did a $2 super chat and says story behind Forgotten Cities dev is awesome. FYI, I would like to find out someday. I don't know the story behind it. And Kovafefe of the Cove did a super chat saying nothing like growth when you can't comment for 24 hours. Yes, I guess I should say this, ladies and gentlemen, if you are a newcomer to the stream today and you're enjoying this pre-stream podcast and you're like, shit, I can't talk. There's good reason. Sadly, I am followed around on the internet by a bunch of very malicious, very messed up individuals who have done absolutely everything they can to destroy my reputation as well as my life for the past 5 to 10 years. It's gotten progressively worse over the years as they realize that they can't really get me kicked off of platforms because I don't do anything wrong. So instead, they've resulted to literally slandering my name and trying to destroy every possible positive thing that I could put out on the internet. Okay? When I started streaming on YouTube last year, within a day of me doing it, they found out that on YouTube you can make endless amounts of clone accounts and spam the chat with disgusting, racist, nasty stuff and try to get me kicked off of YouTube. So, luckily, within 2 weeks of me streaming on YouTube, I was enabled the ability to have subscriber-only chat, which means you have to be subscribed to the channel for a day in order to talk, which is great, because guess what? They can make 700 fucking dummy bot accounts, but they can't talk. They'll have to manually subscribe with each one and wait. So it really puts that trolling under control. And I apologize for those who maybe are newcomers to the content and are like, oh, Phil's playing Pokemon today, can't wait to talk. Oh, crap, I can't. It's for the best of the channel. Trust me, if you saw this channel back then in May of 2021 when I started here and how bad it was until the subscriber-only mode got enabled, you would not want that. Trust me. You would much rather wait the 24 hours and then have a nice, controlled, fun chat where people can have a good time with conversation, interact with me, rather than it be Troll Central. Okay? So I apologize for that. Obviously, it's not something, if I could turn it off right now, I would, but it would just go to hell. I have to have it on for the safety of the business, the chat, everything. You know, it's a much better place with it. Okay? All right. So Cove Fefe, thank you for. Actually, I'm gonna consolidate his name. Covfefe of the Cove. There you go. Your name's way too long. Thank you for the super chat. I think another tip actually just came in. Take a look. Yes, wow, several tips came in. Thank you, guys. So, Plum Girl tipped me $1.50 and said, I've actually never played a Pokemon game before or watched gameplay of them. I watched the cartoon as a kid. That's as far as I got into Pokemon. I'm excited to see what Arceus is like and spend my Friday afternoon with you. Sounds good. I'm excited, too, because I've only played, you know, Pokemon games of the traditional sort, and I have no clue how they're going to innovate here. We're going to find out. So, Yordle Pie just tipped $5.50. Says, I finished my last shift. I now have 8 days off. My birthday is on Sunday, but apart from that, I have plenty of time. I'm going to look into making you some art and intro. Seems fair. You've entertained me since I was 16, and I'm now turning 24. Sounds great. Thank you so much. I can't wait to see what you come up with. And happy early birthday. How about that? Also, you're the top tipper of the day. I can't spell. Thank you very much. Snow Ice Kevin Carl Derek Gut to the $1.50 and says, looking forward to the gameplay. Here's hoping you pick Chikorita, but they're all good picks. I do not know what the starter Pokemon are. I have not looked into it. Actually, that's one of the things I like about Pokemon games is that you get different options for your starter Pokemon every game, and I purposely don't spoil myself. I just kind of look at face value what's there, and I pick. So I'm actually excited to do that today. I have no idea. None. All right. Last chance, anyone. If you have a question, a concern, anything you want to talk about before we get started, because we're about to get started, okay? Just curious if anyone else has anything else to ask about. Carlos says some ideas, maybe animated podcast layouts and an outro video and a theme song for the streams. You know, an animated podcast layout might be good. At the same time, it might be distracting, right? I don't know. I wonder what people think about an animated, like if this was moving around me. Hey, I would like an outro theme song. That all sounds good to me. Jadavek says, Evil Dead game has been delayed till May 13, 2022. It explains that there's been a lack of marketing and are concerned that the game is even coming out. Right? Because it was supposed to come out in the next month or two. And now I guess it got delayed, which is fine because there's no way anyone was going to buy it this month anyway. Seriously. Okay. All right. So, guys, here we go. As I end the pre-stream podcast, let's end by, first of all, I want to say thank you. We've got a good amount of people on the stream for this premiere. I'm very excited. I mean, you guys have already helped me out tremendously with contributions and likes and everything. If you are interested in helping DSP Gaming become more prominent this year, I'm trying to rebuild this channel from the ground up, okay? There's many ways you can do so. If you're just a stream viewer, you can like the stream. If you're someone watching this video on demand, you can like the video and leave a comment. All that stuff helps for engagement. If you'd like to go above and beyond and crowdfund, you can. You can become a channel member, which we're trying to hit a goal for this month. We'll have a celebratory marathon event if we hit it. You can do a super chat or a super sticker, in which case you'll get a nice pop-up on screen. I'll give you a shout out. You could tip. If you tip, not only will you get a pop-up, but also we have a tips goal that we're working towards. And when we hit that tips goal, there's celebratory incremental rewards. Like I put on Gunner glasses when we raised $50. You guys get to pick a hat for me to wear at $100. And by the way, I have a Pokemon hat. So I think it's kind of a no-brainer. If we just happen to hit the $100 tips goal for today, what hat I'll probably be putting on. I'm just saying. And then at $150, you get to pick a vest for me to wear. All right? So good stuff. And thank you guys for all of your support already. That's all I got to say. Great pre-stream podcast so far. Thank you guys. Let's end the pre-stream podcast and let's get into our main event, Pokemon Legends Arceus. How does that sound? How does it sound? Only Iced Coffee is here. He says, good afternoon. Apparently someone on the internet thinks that I am Review Tech USA. It's interesting. How many cucumbers have you sucked today? How many chickens have you kissed? Anyway. All right. Let us end this and let's get started, my friends. Here we go. Enough of this baloney.